I'm Jess. I'm going to talk a little bit about information society theory. Now, information society theory relates to the rise of information based economies, more complex economic and social networks, widespread digital culture, and the commodification of consumer information. Information society is a concept that goes by multiple names, has multiple interpretations, and about whether the effects are good or bad, and it even lacks clarity in its definition. You might be wondering how a concept that seems so nebulous can even be described with one term, information society theory. Well, really, I see it as kind of an umbrella term for multiple, mostly complementary works from multiple different authors. These authors used similar concepts starting in around the 60s and 70s to describe some of the changes that they were seeing in society and that we're still seeing today relating to the rise of information based economies and computer technologies. The concept of an information society is often said to have started with the sociologist Daniel Bell, who was interested in describing the post industrial society and its economy. He saw that the service sector was a growing part of the economy relative to agriculture and manufacturing, and he saw that the service sector was largely information based, as he described it. He also described the emergence of a new economic class characterized by the possession of knowledge and interpersonal skills. Um, for example, you think of why all of us are here at Michigan Tech, most of us aren't looking to be farmers or to work on an assembly line, or else we probably wouldn't be still in school seeking out more and more specialized information, and a lot of us feeling like we even need to get our masters in order to be competitive in our fields. This intense specialization of work and of individuals as knowledge holders and economic components relates to Giddens and his emphasis on how we increasingly look to experts and expert systems for numerous everyday functions in our lives. Society is getting more and more complex as information becomes so commodified and so instantly, easily transmissible across large distances, basically to whomever it needs to reach. For example, I don't know anything about meteorology, maybe a little bit, but when I decide how I'm going to dress or how I'm going to plan my day, I just look at the weather app on my phone almost every day, and it's a bit like I have a little meteorologist or weather expert, even a system of weather experts in my pocket. That's what it seems like, at least. Um, Now, not only am I reliant on having access to such expert opinions, but the format is different than if I was talking to them face to face. Von Dijk described that our relationships with media networks are gradually replacing face to face interactions. Um, this also is an expanded social network, and society is structured around and mediated by media networks. Um, and it looks different than if society was a traditional bureaucratic society, a hierarchical mass society, a center periphery structure of society, um, are all different from a media network society. And because he was mostly concerned with how our social structures are changing and our social networks are expanding, Von Dijk preferred the term network society over information society. Um, if you've noticed, I mostly describe broad structural changes in our society when I'm talking about information society. That's mostly because when you get to the interpretation of what are the effects of a more information based economy, what are the effects of expanded social networks, what are the effects of pervasive digital culture, the replacement of face to face interactions with digital ones, and increasing access to and reliance on expert knowledge and expert systems, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to take into account, and a lot of room for disagreement about the social consequences of all these things. One main idea is that these huge global networks, where no one person nearly knows everything that's going on, it's very difficult to understand these systems, um, especially to control them. There's no guarantee that these systems are even stable either. So Giddens calls the globalized world an out of control or runaway world. Another author, Hassan, believes that the information society and the global interconnectivity of it serves the purpose of supporting neoliberalism. Overall, though, there isn't a lot of consensus about where the information society is taking us socially, um, or if information society is even a useful lens for analysis.